On today's show, why Steven Adams will be the most important player for the Houston Rockets against the Golden State Warriors, how Dillon Brooks will set the tone in this series, and Amin Thompson's chance to step up big. It's all coming up right here at Locked On Rockets.
This is Mission Control, Houston.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, and welcome to another edition of Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. As always, I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, native Houstonian and credentialed media member. I'm also the host of Locked On NBA Thursdays. Be sure to follow along wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube. Just search Locked On Rockets, where the best way you can help us grow our show is to listen every single day on a podcast platform of your choosing. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Also, check out our Locked On Rockets newsletter. Would sincerely appreciate all of that support. Now, today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your very first year. And as always, thanks so much for making Locked On Rockets part of your day every single day, whether it's on your way to work, on your lunch break, in the gym. Thank you so much for being an everydayer. Quick shout out to Tari, who is one of our wonderful everydayers. I appreciate you for saying what's up and getting a chance to chat with you. I'm glad that you make the show part of your day every day. I'm glad that it's hopefully an educational resource for you as you learn more about this Rockets team and learn more about the game of basketball itself. And I also wanted to shout out the Rockets organization themselves and the media relations department for this fantastic postseason gift, this box with my name on it. They gave out to media members ahead of the Rockets Warriors playoff series. It has a jersey inside of it with my name on it. And it was just a really cool gesture by the Rockets organization. And as somebody who, I've talked about this before, but as somebody who grew up and is still a diehard fan of the team, you know, fell in love during the Steve Francis, Cuttino Mobley years, and then really latched onto the Rockets during the Team Acciao era. It's an absolute dream come true to be able to cover this team professionally. And it's exciting times to be a Rockets fan, getting ready to embark on this next stage of the journey, getting into the postseason again with this young, exciting core, and couldn't be more ready for the action to commence. So I just want to say thank you to the Rockets and thank you to the media relations department for that very, very kind gesture. And joining us now is a very special guest, one of the voices of your Houston Rockets, none other than the man, Ryan Hollins himself. Ryan, my guy, how are you doing? How excited are you for playoff basketball here in Houston, especially against this Golden State Warriors team, man?
I'm ecstatic, man. This has been a special season, but golly, man, I tell you, this is the first time I would say really, there's been a couple of moments, but I would say it's like as a former player, like this one is hard for me. Like I normally you can control these situations, you get tied into the game plan, you're focused, and knowing we've just got to sit back and cheer. This is a different level of anticipation for myself. So man, just bear with me through it.
Yeah, hey, it's a first for you. It's gonna be I can't say it's a first for me. I got one little bit of taste of playoff basketball back when James Harden was still on the team, covering them in a professional capacity. So it's gonna be really exciting stuff, man. This should be a fantastic series, for better or for worse. Hopefully for better for the Rockets. But where I want to start with is just kind of give me some of your general, like, kind of on the surface thoughts, expectations going into this series against the Warriors. Where are you sitting at? What are you feeling about looking at this team on the surface?
I truly believe it's about us. We have enough. And I've been in situations before. You may not have enough. I was in Dallas before we went and played the Nuggets. And this was like Carmelo's Nuggets, and they beat us. They go into the second round with that storied showdown with Carmelo and Kobe and those guys. And, you know, we didn't have enough in Dallas. And I bring that up because I look at this team, I look at their depth. I see the veterans, I see the way they played down the stretch. Our guys have earned that number 2 spot for a reason. And with all due respect, Golden State, they're in the 7th spot for a reason. That's the way the cookie crumbles. So it's always, I don't want to say satisfying, but you can find encouragement saying that we have enough to go out and take care of business. Not to say it's easy, not to say there's anything set in stone, but I truly believe in the talent that's been acquired.
So to that point that you just made there, what do you think about kind of like, the sports books are favoring the Warriors? They're, Rockets are the underdogs. You got the majority of the national media out there treating the Rockets like they are the underdogs in this series. Do you think that's fair? Do you think that's kind of a fair assessment that the Rockets have to go out and prove it first? Or how do you feel about that?
I love it. As a former player, you wouldn't want it any other way. And, when I approach these things again, I'm trying to get that out of my system, but I want to give that analysis. And you are excited that they're not picking you. As a matter of fact, being a little irritated is best. For me, I remember, man, it's crazy. So the second time when I'm in Cleveland, we're playing against LeBron, and this was the game where we had to be like spoiler. I end up having probably the game of my life. And I remember I walked into the locker room and Baron Davis is in there. And, I'm walking in, same routine, get out the car, go in around 3:30, whatever, same deal, right? And Baron just starts messing with me, dude. He's like cussing me out. He's talking crazy. He's like, get out of here. Like, he's just messing with me, bro. He was like, grab my stuff. And he made me so mad. He made me so mad before the game. So, like, I hope our guys get irritated by ESPN and Fox and all these other networks and personalities saying, oh, they don't have enough for Golden State. They're pretend number 2 seed, all those things. Let that drive you. Let that be the force, because all that matters is the guys in the locker room and our guys are, like all of our guys, Jackson, tell me if I'm wrong, right? Like all our guys are like underdog, like underachiever, kind of like dude, like our head coach is a grinder, like you know what I'm saying? Like all of our guys had that dog mentality. So I love Fred VanVleet. Like, are you kidding me? You can't name one of the bigger dogs in the league. Like Sengun has his hit list of people that he wasn't drafted by, and Jalen Green is like, shoot, I should have been first pick. Okay, let me go show what I got. He's a guy that likes to show out when the lights are on. Tari, Eason, man, like I don't know if we have a team of guys that was like just anointed, just picked. So with all due respect, we have a group that embraces these moments. I'd rather be where they are than everyone telling them how good they are.
For so many of the guys that you just named off, right? So many of the guys up and down this roster, the non-veterans, right? This is going to be their first taste of playoff basketball. Just how different, we hear it all the time, right? Oh, playoffs are a different beast, right? How different really is postseason basketball compared to the regular season?
It's so much fun. Like I don't think when I first saw it was in Dallas, and I remember like the fans lighting up. I remember everyone in their seats early, the war behind the scenes, the excitement, the veterans playing hard, guys diving on the floor, like the referees kind of letting things go, like mano a mano meeting at the rim. Some guys don't have the, can I say it on lockdown? They don't have the cojones, man. They are not prepared, okay? Forgive me, bleep that out, Jackson, right? You leave it out, right? But they're not. You see what guys are made of. Jalen Green is a guy, when the lights get brighter, he's prepared for them. So he's going to be a guy that I assume is going to be extremely excited, prepared. But it's so much fun. It's excitement. And my advice to those guys, if I can give it, is and they'll be hearing this from Fred and from Dillon and from Jeff, like balance your emotions. You Golden State might come out on a 20-0 run. Cool, walk them down. Like you know what I'm saying? You gotta go in. It was Oracle Chase Center, right? Whatever it is, right? Like you gotta go in there against all odds and be the villain. Like you have to manage emotions. You might go down 0-2. All right, we're going to they place and we get 2 up there. Like you have to balance your emotions. You cannot get too high. You cannot get too low. And the last thing that matters is anybody outside of those guys in that locker room.
Well, we know they got at least one villain on the roster, and I'm sure he's given plenty of pointers and tips to all the other young guys. Coming up, who's going to be the most important player in this series? Plus, the coaching battle between Ime Udoka and Steve Kerr. We're going to get to that and more here in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by Upwork. Look, scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more, experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, and marketing. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. If you need help with a marketing campaign, Upwork can connect you with a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. Posting a job is free and simple, and within a day, multiple qualified candidates will be available to choose from. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork.com, UPWORK.com, Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. And continuing on here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast, home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. All right, Ryan, when you look at this series and you think about what the Rockets are going to have to do, what they're going to have to achieve to overcome this Warriors team, who do you think is going to be the most important? Obviously, it's a team game. Obviously, it's going to take a collaborative team effort, both defense, offense, whatever. But who in your eyes is going to probably be the most important player for this Rockets team in this series, and why?
Steven Adams. Steven Adams. Why do I say Steven? Something about his play style and physicality, veteran presence, he puts courage in our guys. He's unbelievable on the boards. Does a lot of things. He communicates. Steven's been like that since he was a rookie. Steven played like that when I played against him. Trust me, he's always had that. But he can get Alperen Sengun confident. We see Alp light up when he's out there. He gets more rebounds. The excitement gets back. It's almost like that fullback, right? The fullback that runs through the hole and allows the running back to go get 1,000 yards. That's what Steven Adams brings to the table. He sets screens for Jalen Green, gets him going. Somebody goes into the hole. He's a physical presence. We don't get punked anymore. You know what I'm saying? A lot of those scuffles died down a lot quicker than, prior. You know what I'm saying? You had our skinny old rookies and sophomores out there, and they were trying to hold their own, trying to, grab on and fight. And, Big Steve.
You see Aquaman walk over and it calms down real quick.
Yes. So between Steve-O, on the floor or Ime, don't do it on our side. Ime right there, man. Okay. Between that, it's a common force, and Eric, and we've seen it, Jackson, I've even heard you talk about it, is having that enforcer, having that big brother, having that role can be a lot. I'm not saying Steven Adams going to hit the last second shot, but maybe he sets some screens that gets Jalen Green's confidence going and lets him see the rim. He lights up. Maybe, Draymond goes to dive in and make a play, and, Draymond thinks twice. Maybe, him and Draymond, got a battle so that Sengun gets free. Who knows, But I think that the dominance, because he's dominant on a board. He's the most dominant thing that the Rockets right now can count on. There's no disrespect to Sengun, Jalen Green. Offensive rebounds. You go into a game, when you game plan for Houston, you game plan for Steven Adams. When he you go find him, right? And then he still gets rebounds. And you know how tough that is when the game plan said, go find him, go get him, and he still goes and gets rebounds. So Steven, having experience in the playoffs, having played at this level, I'm going to lean on him to be one of those guys. And if you are taking two to keep him off the boards, now that frees other guys up. And when that double team goes to help and he goes and ducks in, or you got to go, man, we can't just leave him off the boards, that changes a lot. So I'm going to say Steven in a leadership dominant category. And sometimes you've seen it, Jackson, even lately, like, we hadn't just been stellar of late. Like sometimes the games are in another team's favor. That double big lineup, triple big, whatever jumbo package, shout out Ben Dubose, come in and they play, right? And those guys take it to another level. There's this excitement. There's this like weird pep in the step and smiles go everywhere. And then, good things happen. And me and Craig are screaming out double big every chance we get.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you bring up Steve-O, and a great shout for him, because one thing that I keep hearing and seeing written about this team and talked about with this team is, okay, well, the half court offense, right? The half court offense, they've struggled throughout the season, and unfortunately they have. The half court offense hasn't been great at times. It's been propped up by the offensive rebounding, but that's the thing is that's been the team's identity, and they've made it work. They beat you on sheer volume. They just get more chances offensively because of those second and third opportunities by crashing the offensive glass. And so, for me at least, I look at this series and I feel like there's this idea that, in the playoffs you can just turn it up and guys are just going to try harder and they'll fight harder, and absolutely guys are going to be more locked in a playoff game, in a playoff series, than they are in game 53 in January of the regular season. Absolutely, you're gonna be making those hustle plays, you're gonna be diving on the floor. But the thing is, that's been the Rockets' identity and mentality all season. They don't have to somehow turn, flip a switch and then become that. They have been that all year. And I cannot imagine any team, especially not this Warriors team. They do not have the size or the physicality to put up against Adam, Sengun, Jabari, Tari, Amin. I can't see a world where the Rockets aren't going to absolutely crush them on the glass, especially in those double big minutes.
Call me a fool, but was this not like Ime by design from day one, sitting down with the front office with Phil Stone or his coaching staff or Ben Sullivan or any of those guys, and saying like, you know what, like, we're not going to be great on offense, look at the roster, but like, let's go get it on the boards, like let's go get it ugly and like prepare for playoffs. Like, this is a team that, like, because when the playoffs get there, the intensity ramps all the way up. And Houston, Oklahoma City, who else plays extremely hard? Like, I would say of the successful team, Houston and Oklahoma City probably outwork you. But you know what? Boston plays hard. They get after you. They do. They really get after you, and they pressure the basketball. But as far as like ball pressure, playoff intensity, like those are the teams. So I bring that up to say you're spot on, Jackson. Our guys have been playing hard, and that's like the playoffs is like we play harder. So I'm intrigued to see where that gear is. And the one adjustment that Houston will have outside of playing hard is the referees. Sometimes the referees don't let you touch guys, and you've got to adjust immediately to a tight whistle. And I've been there before. I remember playing the Heat. I couldn't touch Chris Bosh. You had to just let Chris Bosh go across the lane. You had to play perfect defense. I had to guard Dwayne Wade trying to split every damn pick and roll. If you weren't perfect, it was the whistle was going up. So like, you gotta adjust to those things. It's a game of inches. Like, they're game planning for everything that Jalen Green does. They're game planning for everything that Alperen Sengun does. They're talking about the best places to double team him, where he's most effective, where he's least effective. Like, you get down to percentages on the right side of the floor, we're sending him to the middle because he likes to spin off baseline. On that side, we're going to send him to flat. In pick and rolls, we're switching. Like, Houston played the Lakers, and JJ Redick was doing this crazy switch to pick and roll, and then he was sending a rotation from the bottom of the key to go out and guard Sengun at the top of the key to scram out the guard. Like you're going to see some unconventional things that you go out and you play harder than, you adjust, and you got to be technical. Technical is the word, and above all, if you ain't technical, just go be dog. Go work them.
And this double big lineup, as good as it's been, as effective as it's been. The one thing is, this last meeting between Rockets and Warriors, where the Rockets, just manhandled the Warriors. They pulled away in that fourth quarter. It looked fantastic. Ime exclusively ran the double big lineup in the non-Steph Curry minutes. And I think, to me, that's one of the things I'm really excited to see is, can the double big lineup, can you run Adams and Sengun at the same time as Curry being on the floor? Because one of the things that makes the double big so effective, right? You have all that size and length with Adams, Sengun, and then, Bari or Tari occupying that other wing slot. But when you have the perimeter defenders of an Amin Thompson, a Fred VanVleet, a Jalen Green, or a Tari at the top of that zone, that's also what makes it so effective, is you get the ball pressure from those guys and the backline size and length and defense of the other guys. But I don't know how much we're going to be able to see of it in those minutes where Curry's on the floor.
But let me say this, I'll give away. I hope I'm not giving away the secret to the sauce. Nobody watch this from the other side, right? But I guess we're
Yeah,
here on
if you a
LOR,
Golden
right?
State, if
For
you
a
a Golden
reason.
State fan, get out of here. We don't want you here.
Yeah, get out here. But you did see double big in the zone for a pinch with Curry there. And that's where Steven Adams is great because if you notice, he communicates well. And I also, Jabari, forgive me, think what we learned the last game when Jabari was out and double big went in. Jabari is very much a part of that double big lineup. Double big just rolls off the tongue much easier, but like Jabari is
Now
very
we
much a
got to stick with
huge
Jumbo. We got to
part.
stick with Jumbo. Let's go with
Yeah,
Jumbo. It's the Jumbo lineup. It is.
yeah. But remember against, I want to say you saw double big. Was it OKC? No, it was Atlanta. So you may see a similar treatment. Double big or double big 2-3, right? We're getting like this is like Houston Texans football. Double big 2-3 jumbo, right? Like they pressed out and the two guards picked up Trae Young higher. And what they did is they allowed the elbow catch and just said, we'll play 3-on-2 on the backside. And maybe that's something you'll see with double big. And it was almost like a soft trap on Trae Young, and then just saying, go. But now Golden State smart because when you gotta extend, you extend the double big 2-3 jumbo, right? Double big 2-3 jumbo, splash Draymond. You got to go one-on with Draymond, and he's an excellent passer and knows how to crash in and play the game. So if you see double big 2-3, right, you may see that adjustment there. Go back and watch that Hawks game. It was there. Scram to all the other listeners. It's crazy. It's such like the player in me. Like I feel like am I giving away too much with some of this stuff? But I'm sure they've gone through all those looks and the scout departments on both sides are so thorough that I'm sure old Ryan Hollins doesn't have any secret to the sauce going on.
Hey man, look, I know I love the insight, and I try to give you as much credit as possible, but I'll give you your flowers right here to your face, man. Hearing you on the broadcast when you're not just hyping up the guys, but also kind of breaking stuff down live in action. That's always my favorite, right? Hearing some of the behind the scenes, the little quick X's and O's of, hey, this is what the Rockets are running, or hey, pay attention, this team is doing XYZ. And even just then that little breakdown that you gave us, you're right, because it was Fred and Aaron Holiday pressing up in that 2-3 zone, and they were putting all that pressure on Trae Young. So maybe we do see something like that again against Golden State in this series. But coming up, oh no, go, you got one more?
Real quick.
That's what you got.
Because of that, you guys are such diehards. Shout out to Bill Worrell, man. I will kind of put him out. He probably didn't want me to, but he gave me some tough love. Preseason. He does a great job. Whenever you reach out to him, he's there. He's all in, man, and he's just as much a part as he was commentating. But he gave me some tough love, and he was just like, "Look, man, like stop giving baby food to our audience because if you're watching a regional broadcast, the Houston Rockets basketball in the middle, of the year, like, or the top of the year, like you're a diehard, like you're in it. So he's like, stop holding back, like give them the knowledge, give them the stuff. Like they're gonna break it down, they're gonna hear it. If they don't know, they're gonna ask in their community. So this year I've tried to, push a little more to say, the baby food's gone. I don't have to give the soft explanation. I can give you guys some hard food because we have a group that the best fan base in all the sports that knows basketball. So shout out to Bill, but that was some of his advice to me of like, all right, like give them the terms. They'll figure it out or they know it already. You'd be surprised. And these people are not watching by accident. So, show them the same honor. And that's something I tried to do more of this season.
Coming up, how important is it going to be for Dillon Brooks to help set the tone for this Houston Rockets team? And could we see Amin Thompson breaking out as a star this postseason? We're going to get there in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Look, do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? It happens to me more often than I'd like to admit. Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment costs, it's really easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building your wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just unfortunately, just how much that I was spending on food. Now I budget smarter and save more. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off of your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your very first year. And final segment here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast, home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. All right, Ryan, when you're going into a playoff series, right? Talk about, setting, and we talk about this during the regular season. You talk about going out and you want to be the team that punches first, right? You don't want to be the team that gets hit first. And when you have a guy like Dillon Brooks to help set the tone really on both sides of the basketball, it helps a ton. I had the chance to ask Dillon at practice on Thursday afternoon how many ejections we might see in this series, and he had a pretty good answer. Here, let's hear what he had to say.
How many ejections are we going to see in this series?
I don't know. I'm not going to get ejected. I'll leave that to somebody else.
You guys.
I'll leave that to somebody else. We'll leave that up to you guys and your imagination as to who he thinks is going to get ejected in this series. But just really, right, how important is it to have a guy? We talk about Steven being that enforcer, but he's a bit more of a, level-headed, kind of he'll kind of hang back kind of enforcer, and nobody wants to mess with him. But when you have a guy like Dillon who really sets the tone for this team, how important is that in a playoff series?
He's everything, because that intensity is where he's played at from preseason. Like, you got to tone that dude down in preseason. He doesn't know any different, so he's ready to go. It's funny. I went up to Dillon and I was like, "Hey man, like you could have played on any of those teams I was on. Those teams with Garnett or Dirk, or like the way that he plays, he brings it, and he's ready." And the biggest thing for him is he's been embraced by Ime and the organization to be the best version of him. And it's funny, he says, the technicals are there, I think, by reputation, Jackson, and you've touched on that a lot this season. But a lot of him is just like, yo, I'm playing basketball. And if you really break down Dillon, I don't even want to call them antics. There are moments where he goes, I gotta sway the game on our favor. I gotta irritate the other team's best player. I gotta bring something to the table, just a twitch. I need the guy to think,
like a spark, something, right?
I need him. I need this great scorer to think for 1 second about not scoring the ball, or think about me and throw his game off. And with the emergence of Tari Eason being healthy this season, can't talk about how much that kid has meant to this ball club. And Amin Thompson, he's been able to say, okay, do my job, come out and be a great shooter, be a really great shooter. Hey, bring that physical nature, coach these guys through, or heck, like, I don't got to take 1A anymore. I can take 1B and 1C and be off ball. So, Dillon is there's a method to his madness that's going on, where a lot of times we just needed him to guard the other team's best player every night. And when he got in foul trouble, or Sengun got in foul trouble, we were cooked. Like, we needed everything to go right, where, he can afford those 2 fouls, or he can switch off once he gets a foul. In some matchups, maybe better than him. Shout out Aaron Holiday. Aaron Holiday is poised to, and he's played well against the Warriors. He's probably, outside of Amin, because clearly Amin showed you, I think he's the second best defender that Houston can throw on Curry, because of his foot speed, because of his aggressive nature, because of his ability to fight through screens and kind of like stay up, like pick the basketball up and pressure. So I say that to say, for Dillon, he plays such a cerebral game, and he's a guy that you want to have on the team, and he's a guy that's prepared. But there's not as much crazy there as you would think.
You touched on this earlier in the show, but Golden State's game plan is going to be, to try and eliminate and take out Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun as much as possible. We know they're the big guns, they're the heavy hitters for this Rockets team, and we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about them in another episode down the line. So be on the lookout for that, guys, if you're listening and watching to this one. But because those guys are going to have so much attention put on them, double teams, blitzes, all this stuff, it very much feels like this could be a great opportunity for Amin Thompson to really put his name out there on the map. And it's not that he hasn't yet. He's made a name for himself this year as being this defensive monster. He should be a lock for first team all defense. He's getting some DPOY votes. So it's good to see him getting the recognition, but it feels like, especially on the offensive side of the ball, right? this could be a really big opportunity for him to really put his name on the map.
Again, we'll keep this all with our Rocket fans. So one thing Ime's done of late is when Sengun gets the ball, he cuts underneath the defense. So an outlet, and Min's got a bunch of turnaround dunks. Sometimes he got it last game. He was a recipient, and then he hit Alp, on a nice bounce pass or what have you against Denver. So like, he's not just creeping under for offensive rebounds, he's creeping under to facilitate also. And that's the gem in Amin Thompson. That's why we've fallen in love with him this season, but he's extremely important as a hub. And then he's our transition offense. So, if he can push the pace, and we know how important to Houston's confidence is getting out in transition, they're a much different team. Jalen Green and Amin in transition changes the game, and then Alp pushing and throwing it up, and you got two guys wanting a double lob. Like, that's where Houston, gets really, really dangerous, because if I'm Golden State, I'm like, slow this game down, keep them off the boards, and, pack in the paint. And I think, man, there's just so much for Amin Thompson to be able to do, and he's going to have to read. So for Steve Kerr, he might go out and say, sag off Amin Thompson, play straight up on Jalen Green and Alperen Sengun until they make us double team. They have to show us that they deserve a double team. And, I'm intrigued to see the defensive lineups, if Kuminga gets some run and gets out there, that they throw out there to try to match up with Sengun and Green, because they can switch out. And again, Golden State presents a lot of problems because their bigs are the best in the NBA. Jackson, tell me if I'm wrong, at getting up at the level against pick and roll. They don't sit back. Looney, if they're not switching, Looney and Draymond, they're really, really high because they have the foot speed. They're not like really bigs, So again, they may stay more traditional, to answer your original question, to try to keep a body on Amin Thompson. So again, everything works in synergy, and those are the signs of a really, really good basketball club.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be an absolute rock fight of a series. We're gonna have some scores from back during your playing days with some very low scoring affairs in these games, but it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm excited for it. I know you're excited for it. You got any final words, any final thoughts for Rockets fans listening to this show, Ryan?
Man, if you can be in a building, cheer those guys on, represent for your city, man. This is a fun one. Tweet out, watch, go ahead and go to war during this series, but just keep giving our young guys confidence. Keep believing. You need the city behind everything that's going on, man. And for those of you diehards, man, you deserve this. Enjoy these moments. And this has just been an absolutely special season. And Jackson, you keep it up, bro. You look. It's funny. Like, you'll say something, I'm like, dang, Jackson is technical. Like, what? Jackson has watched so much basketball. It's like unhealthy. Like, he's having basketball dreams, and he's drawing X's and O's in his dreams, and he see him play. It's like you're a maniac, bro. Like, there's certain stuff, and I'm like, dang, Gatlin's paying attention.
Hey, I don't know about all that, but having that, hearing that from you, from somebody who's lived this, who still lives this, who lives and breathes basketball as much as you do, I appreciate that, my guy. It's always a pleasure having you on the program. Looking forward to this game. Thank you so much for stopping by, as always. And we're gonna do this again. We're gonna have a deep postseason run, which means we're gonna have you back on the show
Yes.
a little bit more to celebrate. A Rockets in 6. That's what I've been saying. I'm saying Rockets in 6. So I won't put you on the spot. I won't make you make a call, but I'm excited for a Rockets win against the Golden State Warriors, a series win against the Warriors, not just one game, not just 2 games, a series win. Ryan, thank you so much for being here with us, man.
Anytime, brother. Keep it up. See you soon.
That's going to do it for another edition of Locked On Rockets. As always, thanks so much for checking out the show. Remember, the best way to help us grow our show is to listen every single day on a podcast platform of your choosing. Like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Also, check out our Locked On Rockets newsletter. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And we look forward to having you back right here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball.